You're listening to iFanboy Pick of the Week, episode 993. I'm Josh Flanagan. I'm here with my co-host, Conor Kilpatrick, who is on one side
Hello,
of me.
I'm over
Hi.
here.
It's
Hi.
I know. It's iFanboy 2025. It's our 20th year of doing the show. We're in our 25th year of doing iFanboy, which happened to both align with my relationship and marriage to my wife. Who knew? And that means that every week for I just realized that. By the way, we've
That's
been doing this for 9 months.
Did
I
we
may
start
have
the show
realized
when
it.
you got married? I guess we did.
It was later that year. So I got
Yeah.
married
Wow.
in August and we started in just November, I guess. Ended in November.
Interesting. Interesting.
hmm Yeah.
You needed something
So
to do.
which means that every week for 25 years, I've made up a story about why I go up here. She has no idea that this is a thing.
Never
You know,
listened.
there was a well, that's also, one of us has picked the book they like the best from their stack of comics. We call that the pick of the week. We will talk about that comic book and other books from the week. There's a patron pick. There's listener mail. It's going to be fun. Maybe you don't know what any of those terms are. What is a patron pick? Well, stick around,
This could be your first show. You'll
fools.
find out. Yeah.
I'll tell you something else, though, if it's your first time. There could be spoilers. If you're reading your comics just loosey-goosey thinking that nothing's going to ruin the story for you, but you haven't gotten to all of them yet, I don't think we're going to help you with that. We're respectful about it, but come on, we got work to do here. So take your own caution. And it was with great grace and wonder that I did not have the pick this week again. So
Well, it's
Connor,
actually supposed to
go
be
ahead.
Ryan, our third fill-in host, but he had stuff he couldn't come this week, so we skipped him this week. So
Now,
wasn't supposed to be me, but fate stepped in. Pick was Batman #1. Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez, Tomo Mori, and Clayton Cowles. Interesting time we live in, Josh, where
yeah,
there are 2 Batman books coming out right now because Hush 2 is not over.
is the numbering?
No, they started the numbering
Well,
over here with #1, but they just said
there's a legacy number on it,
we're
though.
not
Right?
waiting anymore
I guess not.
for Hush.
They'll catch
So
up to the legacy.
they just went ahead and published it. I don't even know what part of Hush we're up to. I don't even know how many are left, but it's still coming out, supposedly. Batman #1, Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez. This is the new take on Batman. And, this was not a foregone conclusion, even though I'm a big Batman fan. Because, it's not a great time to be a Batman fan from my perspective. I've talked a lot about this. There's a lot of things that have done wrong with the character. There's a lot of things that have broken the sort of mythos. And I haven't been a real big fan of the Batman book in a while. I think the last time I made the pick of the week was the first issue of the Chip Zdarsky run, where that was like a Hope Springs Eternal situation. But this is a pretty big relaunch. This is I was showing this to our buddy Mike Romo. He was like, "What's the all in mean?" I was like, "It's just a thing to start over the character." So this is like it's a pretty new take on Batman. Not like not to the studs, but I mean from the last volume. It's a different take on Batman. And I liked it. There was a lot of things. So to be a Batman fan in the year 2025 means you make a lot of emotional concessions, right? You have to, because things are dumb. And so I think the main thing people are probably talking about is they introduced AI Alfred. And so Alfred's dead. He's been dead for a while. It's the dumbest thing in comics.
Having not been reading Batman, it was a few pages in before I was like, that's weird that he's just riding around with him. That doesn't usually happen. And I don't remember what it was, but then like when he gets out of the car, I kind of saw it was like, oh, he's ethereal. I see.
Yeah,
let's hope he's AI.
That seems to be what it is.
And Bruce isn't cracking up.
Well, I mean, I guess not even there's just a whole new wrinkle in my head that I didn't even think about, but it seems to be he's an AI sort of projection of Alfred. Or at least he's in Bruce's ear, whether or not the vision of him is real or not.
It's in it. Other people can't see it, but it's in his his glasses things.
That could be too. His death is the dumbest thing in comics. The fact that they haven't reversed is the dumbest thing in comics. They killed him off for a new status quo that never came to be, and so that's dumb. The other thing here that you got to wrap your head around is that Vandal Savage is still police commissioner, and somehow old Jim Gordon is back as a beat cop, which is like 15 levels down from where he was.
It's a much further drop than say when McNulty decided to go from the boat.
Detective. Yeah.
He was the detective, and then he was with the special crimes unit. Then he was on the boat, which I guess is like
But
a
he was a
patrol
detective
person.
through all those things. He got bumped.
And then he was back to a detective, and then he was busted down
He
to
got
the
busted
street.
down, which is
And he
only
was
like that's one level.
and he was so happy about it compared to, as was Jim Gordon. It was very similar. I don't know what
I don't
kind
know
of
how Jim
things.
Gordon is how old he's supposed to be, but
Mhm.
I think he's well beyond retirement age for
It's
beat cops.
it's definitely like it's an odd choice, but comic books
And it's way
and just
it's a way. What I think is happening is it's a way for Matt Fraction to bring back all of these elements that were gone
Mhm.
and shouldn't have been gone. You know, Gordon has been commissioner in a while. They had him in like backup stories as like a PI, which is stupid. This is a way of bringing everything sort of back into the fold. And Matt Fraction talks at the end. He's a big, or was it maybe in the interview? I read the stupid PR interview. That's how interested I
yeah,
was.
no,
In
I
what was
did
happening.
too.
I never
I
read those things because mostly they're fake. Like the PR team writes the answers as
I
well
mean,
as
it's
the
not even
questions.
fake, but it doesn't even like. I mean, if it is or not, but it doesn't ever tell you anything. It's just like it's great. But I was curious about the fact that as I was reading it, I was like, this is a pretty severe tonal shift,
Yep.
such to the extent that I was like, I feel like I understand what era he's trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it was like a fun kind of swashbuckling, lots of gadgets, Batman,
In the same way that
heavily,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, heavily on the Batmobile. Um,
They highlighted
old
all of
school.
his gadget. Every time you used the gadget, we got a little highlight box, which felt very much
Mhm.
like the Fraction who wrote Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every time he used something, we got a little like here's his his
Mhm.
batarang or his night vision. Or I loved the electric gauntlets that he could punch
Mhm.
Croc with. So that was fun, and there was a lot of fun elements. Um, that I liked that Batman had a bit of a personality that was kind of more casual. I
Mm.
did gasp when he took his mask off, hanging out with Croc, which
I did.
but I had to sort of go with that because
I
I think
kind of was. I got that. I think it made sense. I thought it was a thoughtful move. You know what I mean? Like I thought, well, okay, well, it's not like he didn't consider it. Like a lot of times when Captain Steve's running around, he just
mhm,
takes his mask off, and you're like, why is he doing that right now? It doesn't make any sense. Here, I get what he was trying to do. He was trying to establish trust with him. This guy's a raging child monster, so it's not like he's in a lot of danger. But what I really liked was then the people came in later, you saw him over there adjusting his shit and putting it back on.
yeah.
And it was like halfway.
He was establishing a human connection with Croc, who had devolved into a childlike state. So I didn't think there was any, I don't think he thought there's any danger in Croc being like remembering that this what he looks like. It was more of like I'm a person, but under this
Mhm.
mask, and um let's make a connection. It was kind of like Wally West in a way. Like he's definitely not the cold avenging angel Batman here. He's just
Mhm.
like he was establishing human connections. He saved these women from a gang, and it was a very sort of human interaction he had with them, which
Mhm.
was
He was
I
a
found
little
interesting.
gruff, but he let them know like they're taken care of. I'm not going to do anything to you. We're good.
And then later on, or was it in that same situation?
He showed him the butterfly, which I didn't understand at first.
Right. There's a part where he disarms someone, and he held the gun like it was poison, like with his
Mhm.
two fingers
Mm.
on the barrel. Like it's a lot of little things, and Jorge Jimenez is so good,
Yes.
and the art he does is so considered. And I'm not 100% behind the new costume. I don't dislike it. I've never been a blue and gray guy, but I grew up with that one, so it feels comfortable. But
I
I liked it ultimately at the end.
I think visually it was the right choice. I
It's a
found
change. It's a
myself,
change.
yes, but also it again when you're talking about harkening back to it, like it's a clear signal, like this is the gray and blue one.
Yeah.
So we're talking about an earlier version, 80s. It could have been earlier, but it kind of felt like a combination. But either way, I do know that when he turned around and I was like, just put fucking yellow under the bat symbol. That's what I want. Because in my mind it already filled it in, and when he
Yeah.
turned around I was like, oh come on, just give me that, because that's how it's supposed to look. I'm okay with the gray and blue. It
Yeah.
makes me, it lightens the whole book up, and you could tell by the fact that the whole thing wasn't in shadows and raining. He was out in the world.
I loved that. So this whole story, it's not a big story. It's Killer Croc escapes from his psychiatric facility
Mhm.
Batman goes to find him. In the course of finding him, he disrupts several crimes. This is the Batman I've been asking for years. Like, just show
Mm.
me a Batman story that doesn't involve his world being shattered or Gotham City falling to its knees or some secret about the underclass of Gotham. Anything. Just tell me a Batman story. This is what they did here. And when I read the interview, Fraction said that it's going to be one-shot stories.
I saw that, and I was like, all right.
Like, we haven't done that since Paul Dini's Detective Comics run like 15 years ago.
I feel like possibly Matt Fraction, who says he was a Batman fan, has been reading this book or staying up with it all along and went, all right, I'm gonna do everything different. And that's that one and done thing. Like you said, it's been a really long time, but no one does that.
Right.
No one does that. And because everybody's trying to tell their novel. And one of the things that's nice about somebody like Matt Fraction, who I have had mixed feelings on over the years, I think it's never, a lot of these guys, like, I never thought he was bad, just since a lot of stuff wasn't really my taste, but other stuff really was. But he doesn't need to prove himself here. Like,
Right.
he's done all the things. He has blazed trails. He's bombed on stuff. He created, that Hawkeye book, which changed a ton of things, and so here he'd be like, this is what I think I should do. And so he doesn't have that fear, like, of not doing it right or whatever. So he can go in and, like, give you the Batman book that probably he wants, but he thinks probably we want. And it, issue 1, it works.
And in case you're someone who's afraid of that kind of thing, it's clearly a continuing story. Like, this book ends on a cliffhanger, but it tells a complete story with Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Next issue will tell a complete story, and I'm sure it will continue on. Like, that's how Dad did it, and that's how comics used to be. You would get a complete story in an issue, but it would continue. It would continue
Right.
the story. So I read that and I went, oh, so
like the Wonder Years.
This pick was, the issue was great, but also just the feeling of, this could actually be a different Batman. Not so different, but different from what we've been doing for a long time. That I was like, but the feeling of excitement was great. And Jorge Jimenez is a really fast artist, but I don't know if he'll do every issue, but man, he does really great character work. He does big action. The pages are full of life. There's the final shot of Tim Drake is from a really awesome low angle.
And that's the thing that needs to be discussed, is that phone rings, says, "Hey, boss," I think something like that. I think it was a phone. I don't know.
It was in his ear.
Yeah, whatever. And then they cut to it, and I was like, "Is that Tim?" And I almost felt a little bad, because if you're not fully on it, like, I don't know that reveal tells you a lot. If like, if this is your first Batman, but then again, whose first Batman is it really? But I was like, is that? Because I was like, he's either radically changing Damian.
No, it's Tim. I only know that from the press.
Right. Yeah, and like, that's what I got from it. And like, I know that you have your feelings for Nightwing. I mean, for Dick, but Dick's not Robin anymore. So if I have to pick a favorite Robin, it's going to be Tim Drake. I love Tim Drake.
Tim Drake's number 2 with a bullet.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the two of them to be together. I'm excited for Batman and Robin to be together in a book. I know there are Batman and Robin books with Batman and Damian, but I feel like there's a certain age class, and Fraction is somewhere around our age that, the formative years was Tim Drake. And I realize maybe for younger people, Damian is the Robin, and that's your own mental illness to deal with later in your life. But for people around our age, even though I grew up with the Bronze Age with Dick, but since the early '90s until was it? I don't remember when 2005-ish or whenever NRP was. Tim Drake was the guy. It was like 15 years of Tim Drake. So I'm excited for that. There's just a lot of interesting things happening here, and it feels like Matt Fraction slowly putting the pieces into place. But it was also just full of great character stuff. When he goes in, he finds Killer Croc in this museum staring up at the T-Rex. He says, "Hey, I used to have one of those." Like, it was just like a nice little moment. He doesn't run in and punch him. He stands next to him and looks up at the T-Rex and goes, "Yeah, I used to have one of these." That was so not the Batman you would have gotten in the last 15 years. It was so different that I was like, oh.
I really liked, there's a little bit before that, and I can't think of another example, but there were touches, there were touches in the art all over the place that indicated a real nice thoughtfulness. And as Batman is walking up, you see a woman and a little girl, and the little girl's
Yes.
scared. She turns around and sees that Batman is coming. We don't see him, but we know he's there. And then her face fills with like hope,
Yeah.
and the fear is gone. And again, it's just a little less grim and a little more fun. And I think that that's exactly what I think it's the right move. I finished the book, and I went in and I was I'm hesitant. I was like, I'm definitely going to read this book, but you know, I've been burned before, and
Sure.
I, and as I sort of went through it, I was like, all right, not everything's exactly what I do, but this is the world we live in now, and that all makes sense. And at the end, I was like, well, I don't see that Connor isn't going to make this the pick of the week. I was like, unless there's some fucking thing in it that he's like, that's wrong. But
No,
I didn't know it was going to be, but I didn't see it. So
yeah, I mean, look, Vandal Savage being the police commissioner still is stupid,
I messed up because I was like, wait, is that Vandal Savage or is that Ra's al Ghul? I can't
but that's not Matt
remember.
Fraction's fault. That's what
I know
happened. And 75-year-old Jim Gordon with a bad ticker running
he's got
around
his
the beat cop
he's in his
is
bachelor pad wherever he is instead of just move him back into the house. You know what? Full reset. Like
well.
next issue, put him back in the mansion, have Alfred be there, and just never talk about it.
That's what I would have, honestly, if I was in charge of DC, I would have just said, let's just fix all these things and then don't mention it.
Yeah.
I do want to, before we move on, I do want to mention, so I think this is the thesis statement of the book, which is the scene I just talked about where Batman just, sits down next to Killer Croc instead of fighting him. He walks into the room prepared to fight him. He turns on his new electric gloves and he makes the stance. But that's when AI Alfred says, hey, maybe the doctor we just talked to about Killer Croc is right, and maybe it's just easy. It'd be better just to not beat him up, and let's talk to him. And that was like, I feel like the thesis statement of the new Batman here is maybe he's going to be a little more human.
And there's a meta commentary going on there too, which is rehabilitation versus punishment, basically, and just being open minded to a thing. And I think.
Well, at least here, because Killer Croc is reverted to childhood, and he's like,
Sure.
you were a scared child once. You remember how that feels? Maybe talk to him on that level. And so that's what they do. That's what they talk about dinosaurs, which because all kids love dinosaurs,
right? But
even kids.
Just in general, I mean, if you, I don't know, but if you take it out to date of what you think Batman is and what people have thought the Batman book needs to be for a while, and it was about to be that, and then AI Alfred was like, well, what about this? And he was like, I can change.
Yeah.
And that really, to me, is a big metaphor for sort of what this book could be. And I would like to think it was done purposefully, or maybe it was done subconsciously, or maybe it wasn't done, but that happened. See, look, the yellow is behind him
in the cover,
which, and then I was like, why's Nightwing got a cape there? What's that about?
I agree. If they had just gone back to the yellow oval, I think it would have been all right. I do want to mention, since we're looking at the cover, they've brought back the character box under the logo, which is
nice.
Used to be a long-standing feature of comics and went away, but they brought that back.
And also, I understand that things have to be different, and it's fine. You are a couple of line strokes away from making that the best Batman logo that ever was. Just curve it up a little bit, and you got it.
It's better than the old logo.
Abso-frackin-lutely.
But it's not great. It's okay. It's passable, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's an improvement. We're making improvements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I could talk about this more, but let's move on because there's a lot of books to talk about. But I did really enjoy this, and this makes me excited for the future, especially if we're going to be getting these sort of single issue looks at Batman. But let's talk about another book. I'll be honest with you, Josh. Before I read Batman, I was like, I think these Adventures of Lumen N might be the pick of the week. Number 1 from Dark Horse.
I have read a lot of James Robinson books over the years, both less creator owned and more big two stuff. And I usually like them, but sometimes you can go either way. So I went into this one because he did is this his fourth?
He did the Welcome to the Maynard. He just did the Los Monstros.
Okay, so this is his fourth. There was 4 series, and this is the last of them. From that initial launch of stuff he was doing at Dark Horse. And I didn't read Los Monstros, no reason. I just missed the beginning. Patra, I think, was the sort of horror. I read the whole thing.
I didn't read that one.
I didn't really get it. I don't think it was bad, just not. And then I really enjoyed Welcome to the Maynard, which was unexpected from him.
Yeah, totally.
This book, I come in, and just for half a second, I was like, what is Mignola drawing this? But no, it's Phil Hester, who is maybe the most underappreciated comic book artist out there. He's certainly in the list
I do.
of
I mean, we talked about him before because he has popped up here and there
sure.
recently. But this week we had Phil Hester and we had a story by Ron Lim in Doctor
Mhm.
Strange, and I thought I read a lot of comics from the big two that have sub professional work.
Yeah.
There's no reason why Phil Hester or Ron Lim can't be getting regular work unless they can't or don't
I
want to
mean,
do it. I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, I'm
it's just
guessing Ron Lim must be pretty far along now, so maybe a monthly book's not in
I'm
there,
just
but
saying
those
though,
are
like
short
they both
stories.
did great this
Yes.
week. Yeah,
And Hester's probably not
Hester's
much older
awesome.
than us, but no, he's fantastic. Anyway, didn't know what the story was. I gotta say, I absolutely loved that when I saw the title, Lumen N. I was like, what the hell's that?
And
And I
N's got
like
a period
that
denoting
we
it's a
found out what it was,
yeah.
but I didn't know what it was when it started. And there's clues. If you knew, maybe some people figured out, but I didn't really figure out the secret. And I don't know if we need to talk about it, but we can, but I'll get to it.
Well, so the main story it's about this young Indian girl. She's a girl. She's a teenager, being raised in this like uh very sheltered environment. But she's learning how to do
Very
combat, and she's learning all the languages, and so
right.
she's being brought up in this compound.
She seems to be cloistered and is
Yeah.
being very specifically raised according to the mandates of, I think, her father.
Yes.
So you have to learn all these languages. They listed them out, and I was like, that is impressive. And just like everything, like if you were trying to make Alexander the Great, this is what you would do.
The end, which we'll skip over, and maybe we don't have to spoil. We'll see how the conversation goes.
Sure.
Reveals what the N stands for. We basically meet her grandfather,
Mhm.
who
Which is the first. It's in the prologue of the whole thing, and I thought, is that an alien? Which was done that way. I think it was all done brilliantly. The subterfuge of it and the combination of words and tone and art, I thought did a great job. And then you kind of forget about it and you keep reading.
The last 2 pages feature annotations, which almost never happen, which was interesting. But before that, there was the de rigueur essay, and I'm reading it, and at some point I went, "Are you just doing the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?" And then he says it later on. And then he says it at some point in the essay. He says, listen, this is not going to be the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because he's basically taking characters. This takes place in early, when is it?
I don't know.
He's basically doing the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for
well, he has
like an all ages League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
He has atonement issues with that. I think he's got to
Oh, it's 1901. So the book takes place in 1901. So
right.
he's
contemporary.
He's going to use the adventure and mystery characters from that era in this book. And when he said that, I went, but that's just the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And then the very next paragraph, he says, I'll be refraining from using the central characters from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yada, yada, yada. But I was just like, oh, and we're going for it here.
He's the generation, not quite, but immediately following Alan Moore's generation. And he's a British guy, and so a lot of the stories that the League and this character takes from were a bigger part of their youth and literature at the time than probably would be today. And now that everybody has a chance to play with those characters.
And he just
probably
says
Phil Hester's the same.
The tone of the book is going to be light and fun, and all appropriate for all ages, which is
mm-hmm.
I did find the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen fun, but it's not light and it's not appropriate for all ages. So
it seems like it is for a second, then you're like, oh,
he's staying away from the Invisible Man and Jekyll and all those things, or Jekyll. But I was impressed by the audacity. Like, oh, we're just going to do this, but it was just so well done, and so much fun, and just technically really strong. As you said, the way that the information was revealed when you got to the last, the final reveal at the end, you're like, oh shit, whoa,
yeah, and it clicks. You go, oh, that right. I didn't know what it was. I read through it a couple of times. I was it's one of those ones you're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Not because you're lost, but he's introducing it to you slowly. And then I stop every once in a while. I go, fuck, Phil Hester. He's so good. And I think he's getting better. I'm such a fan, and I have been since I first saw him doing Green Arrow with Kevin Smith forever ago. I'm sure he did stuff before that, but that was the first time I knew it. And he's better. Every time he shows up, he's better and better. And yeah, by the end, I kind of was like, oh, I think I really liked that.
I
And
read this really
it
early
was
on in my stack,
yeah.
and as I kept going through it, in my head, because I've been doing this so long, my head starts
Mhm.
calculating. It's like
You start.
there's
What am
like
I
a
going to talk
chart of all
about?
the books I'm reading and all the books that are rising and falling in the chart.
Mhm.
And I was like, is The Adventures of Lumen N the best book I've read this week so far? And it kept being the best book after every comic I read.
Mhm.
And then until I had Batman, but I was like, oh shit, like that was great. It was really good. And I'm
Yeah,
happy I
I
read.
agree.
I think I
Yeah,
was on the
I was
fence. I was
very
like, no,
happy
I should
about it.
check it out. It's then the James Robinson number one. And I liked the other
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
And I did. I liked it.
And they're
So
all four of those books are diametrically opposed to one another, and I
yeah.
really like that.
Let's take a quick break. You can think about how much you've been enjoying James Robinson's books. We'll be back right after this. All right, so now we've got the Amazing Spider-Man 975. They got it right there, big on the cover. Number
Yep.
11. This is the
Do these come out every week now? Because
there's
it
a couple of
definitely
books.
came out last week.
Adventures came out last week too.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it
I don't
did.
know what's going on, but we have an oversized anniversary issue. I guess we're still doing the 25s. I guess they don't do 9. Did they do 925? I don't
I
know.
don't know, probably. But I'll tell you what, when this gets to new number 25, that's going to be one too. It's just have some pride, people.
I know. So there were 5 stories. The backups, I don't even think are worth talking about. There's a solid Ahmed backup featuring a character that appeared in a previous, I think, anniversary issue. I think I started skimming that story after 2 pages. The last ones are cute, but they're not really worth talking about. But what I wanted to talk to you about was the 2 main stories. The first by Joe Kelly and John Romita Jr., and the second one by Joe Kelly and Pepe Larraz. Because we've been, I'd say, fairly down on the Joe Kelly run so far.
Certainly up and down.
For reasons of
I think mostly
characterization, a lot of. But here, this explains what's been going on. And so did this change your opinion at all about what's been happening? Because it's a fairly dramatic reveal in both stories about what's been happening. About who, because last issue we found out there are two Spider-Men running around, somebody in the spider suit and then somebody pretending to be Peter Parker, which we knew obviously was Ben Reilly. And then in this issue we find out who's in the spider suit, which I was genuinely surprised by. I didn't know who it was going to be. I may be because I'm an idiot, but I was like turning the pages going, who's it going to be? And then in the second story with Pepe Larraz art, we find out where Peter has been this whole time. And that was genuinely surprising. I don't think I've ever read a Spider-Man story quite like that one. So you tell me what you thought.
I don't like anything that's going on Earth. Here's the thing is that like I don't spend any time trying to figure out who somebody is when they're doing the who is this card. Just I don't know why. Because kind of I don't care, and I will let them impress me with whatever the choice is. And I gotta say I didn't really like either choice. There's a real like failing Ben Reilly situation going on right now. It's like, look, he's still here. He's whatever he is, chaos, haunt, I forget, chasm.
Chasm. Chasm's how I feel in my heart whenever he appears.
Yeah, it's not doing a damn thing for me, and I have no history with it, so I don't know. But I don't like him. I don't like anything about it. So I was like, all right, this guy's back.
I did like that the Black Cat was the one who's like, neither one of you is Spider-Man. Like they're both trying to pretend to be Spider-Man.
Thank God she was.
He's not Spider-Man. No, he's not Spider-Man. She goes, yeah, neither one of you are Spider-Man. Like she's the one she knew right off the bat. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Norman, he's been omnipresent in the books. I was like, oh, okay, we're back to Norman in some slightly other guise, and I like how he's been, like the ally, but not necessarily like where Peter's coming around to trust him, but he's not necessarily out there superheroing. They just didn't need to put him back. I get it. It all makes sense or whatever, but it may as well have been J. Jonah Jameson. It's just, So the first part I just got through. The second part, I was like, what the hell is going on? But I genuinely enjoyed that story very, very much. It was a very basic sort of morality tale and sci-fi sort of thing, but it worked really well. It was gorgeous. Pepe Larraz. It was a little soul-crushing. There was a reason for having yet another dumb, ugly costume.
So on the cover, I thought that was Ben Reilly, but
yeah,
clearly that's his sci-fi costume. So
yeah,
we find out that the Lord of the Rings people he fought last time zapped him to another planet, Peter, And so he was first he had to survive on his own basically. And we see a montage of him trying to drink water and eat food, and that's not going well. And he's getting skeletal until he is found by this alien scientist who
Who
basically
appears
nurses
to
him
be
back.
his new best friend.
They're
And
awesome.
like
He
they're
nurses him
having
back
a
to health,
great time.
and
Yep.
Peter tells him that his dilemma is he needs to get stronger. He's already 100 times stronger than the average strong person on Earth, but he needs to be better according to those Lord of the Rings people. And so the guy's like, "I'll help you do that. Don't you worry, because we're best science buddies." And then we find out that that's not this guy's intention at all. He wants to serve man, but I thought that was a nice twist. It was a nice twist. Peter, doing once he finds out that this is not the way he thinks it is. Peter doing the hero thing. He gets the suit, which is introduced earlier on as the guy's sort of science suit, and then he frees the aliens and one of them is Rocket Raccoon, and the other one is a tiny Venom baby, which I didn't love that, but
whatever though. Like I will take a.
It was good though. It was really good.
I will
was
take a
great.
Batman off-world story.
Yes.
Any day right now. You stick him in, do that for 6 months. I'm totally fine with it. Because the thing is, back in New York, like it's been the same,
Dreary.
but it's also been the same people and cast for a year or several years, and then they're coming out so often. So this is like the equivalent of like 5 years of comics of Norman Osborn and Ben Reilly and Hobgoblin shows up and Tombstone. I was like, just move along from this. I'm really I thought, when you say Joe Kelly's coming on, good, let's change it up. But we have been doing this story since Nick Spencer was on it. I feel like it's been, wasn't he didn't he do the,
I'm trying to remember what he introduced versus what because
Zeb
Wells was on it a long time.
Yeah, no, but before that, I want to say it was Nick Spencer, but I'm not sure. Was the Sin Eater stuff, which was all related to Norman, and then the girlfriend, which was Tombstone's daughter. Like that's been going on forever.
Yeah,
and I've had enough. And like the Sin Eater, because Norman is directly related to the Sin Eater, ate all his sins.
That's true. You're right.
Shake it up.
I'm glad. Like you said, I hope this space story is not resolved in like an issue. Like I'm hoping that he spends some time there, because it was a breath of fresh air. It was super fun. Pepe Larraz, I don't know if he's gonna keep. I know he's been coming in and out, but man, he drew the hell out of that book. He gets to draw all kinds of aliens and spaceships and technology, and that was really fun. And it just was a different look at. It was like that Batman off-world story. It was the character was there, just in a pure sci-fi setting, and it didn't change the character. The character brought his self and his morality to the story being told, and it was great. It was really great. What was there? Oh, one of the backup stories involved him eating his webs. That was so weird.
I really like the art.
The art was wonderful.
I didn't like the other part of that. The eating of his webs. Like everyone should have told him to go away. They should have shunned and banished him for that.
That was a 2-page Lee Gatlin story. The art was great, but man, so fucking weird. All right, let's move on from that. It's making me ill. To Adventures of Superman, Book of L, #1, which I did not read.
So I am of two minds here, because there's a couple of things going on. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson. He was on Action for quite a while. Action, that run largely had to do with War World, and again, Superman was off planet, and he did. It ended. It got kind of confusing in there, and it ended with the two kids coming back to Metropolis and living with him, and they sometimes exist in the books, and sometimes we forget about the books. Jay and
I thought they left at the end.
I don't know.
Didn't they leave? Didn't they have to go back to space?
Maybe, I don't know. So this picks up where that left off,
and that's why I didn't read it. We liked that run. At the time, we enjoyed it, and I saw the book was coming out, and I saw it was Phil Kennedy Johnson. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then it said, "Continuing the future state," which was the fucking thing that ruined Batman. Continuing the future state story of Superman. I went, you know what? I'm done. I don't need to go back there.
So the deal here is that I like Johnson as a writer for the most part. I've read a lot of great stories. I didn't love that story. I think he writes a good Superman. It was a good story. It wasn't my favorite kind of setting, but I wasn't like, I don't know why I'm reading this. I totally do. And this was sort of the same thing. I said, like, I am entertained. I really like the Scott Godlewski art.
He's good.
I don't remember any of those characters who were sort of crypto. I don't remember the setup for that at all. I know that there were people and they were bound by chains and they loved their chains, and then they overthrew Mongol and something. Then they ended up with 2 more kids. Despite years of learning from television and comic books, that if you bring more kids into a story that already existed, it's never good. Who are Wally's kids? Jay and who gives a shit?
Well, I mean, like TV is riddled with it. Growing Pains, Happy Days, Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
it's like whenever the long running show got stale after 8 seasons, they would bring a new kid in, and it was.
I was a fan of Scrappy Doo. I was 8, but he was a good time. Yeah, and they would always grow. I remember being a kid, like a pre-adolescent kid, and being like, okay, there was a baby, and the next season they come back and it was 4, and I was like, what happened? Why does this keep happening? Anyway, but like, there's a really sweet thing that happens where, Clark is looking down at his family and he keeps telling everybody, I love you. And he's remembering the things that his dad said to him, or the Pa Kent said to him. And it's really sweet. But then he's looking at the kids. He's like, I love you too. I was like, I don't know.
No. Superman loves everybody, but that's different.
Yeah, it's not, it doesn't, that rang a little hollow. And it felt like there's some other story where there's
this is why I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go backwards. We've already gone forward to Superman.
No, absolutely.
Those things and this is why I didn't read it. I like Philip. If it's been a new Superman book by Philip K. Johnson, I've been all over it. But I didn't want to go back to that dark world.
It was good and enjoyable. Like, it was. It was a fun Superman. It looked great. Yeah, the whole thing. So if I just read it as a story on its own level, and you get to see Superman do stuff, I'm trying to remember. I think he ended up in space too. I don't know. He goes away. Or he gets in a big fight. Anyway, I'm mixed on it, but I'm gonna keep reading it because what are you gonna do?
Here's what I like about the cover. My brain, when I look at the Superman S shield, sees the pieces and not the image. You know what I mean? I see the yellow.
Yeah.
I don't read the S. It's an S, but in my mind, it's a couple of weird yellow shapes because for whatever reason, as a kid, probably trying to draw it.
Oh, it's very difficult.
My brain latches onto the yellow fish. And so this drawing looks very much like an S.
What was always hard about drawing that as a kid, and if you think about it, like, it really, like, it doesn't make sense. It's not like there's a font model for that.
No.
It's like a weird shaped, and it's not okay.
My problem is I was drawing the negative space. I was drawing the shapes, not the S.
What are you?
Which I should have been making the S. Not at all. Yeah. Not even a little bit.
Yeah. So, it is a mixed bag, but ultimately I'm glad I read it.
It's a miniseries, right? It's got to be.
Yeah. I can't imagine. And I was like, if Connor had read it, he's like, you'd be like, when does this happen? Which I thought.
I know what happens. I don't want to go back anymore. We've gone forward. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Think about that and be back in a second. All right, Artificial #1, the latest from Maria Lovett. She's cornered the market on the erotic thriller in comics, which is a genre no one else that I know is doing.
I'm pretty sure at this point a dude can't do it, so a lady has to come in and do it.
She's been doing awesome. I've been enjoying all of these books.
I didn't like the last one. I just was like,
they're good to various degrees. The first one was the best one. This is a 4-issue mini. These are all kind of Black Mirror-esque. They're usually about some sort of technology intertwining with sexuality. And here, this woman on the cover, she's hard up for a date. She should not be, but she's hard up for a date. So she decides that men are too much trouble, and so there's this new program where you can have a date with an android sex bot.
It's a fuck bot.
And you can do the free version, which is just a regular date. But if you want to have anything sexy happen, you got to pay for the premium subscription price. And so she does. And the first issue is basically setting up this scenario. We see what the problems are going to happen. When she's setting it up, she makes a couple of mistakes. She says the safe word, but they record it wrong. And so she's going to say the safe word later, and it's not going to work because it's going to be the wrong safe word. We see all that stuff's going to happen. But I thought this was a really interesting, dark and fucked up look at, technology and relationships and everyone being on apps and, AI girlfriends and all the things that are happening that will eventually involve bots and, but
fuck
I thought this was good.
I think if this is a completely different story if it's a guy.
Sure.
It's just interesting because that's going to be the creepy guy, and this is like the not the confused one. Either way, you're like, I think you're making a mistake with the fuckbot. But it was because it was a gender swap version. I've never seen this version of the story. It's always sort of the other way. Her or what? There's another. I feel like there's another one where somebody falls in love with a robot. And who wouldn't fall in love with a robot with Scarlett Johansson's voice? Yeah, I mean, it was compelling, and she's a great artist. Everybody in her world, like everybody in Brazil, is sexy.
But also it rolls in. There's a whole thing now with romantasy novels being really big, and there was just this big romantasy convention that turned into a big shit show with women can act just as badly as men can. And
sure.
And so here they add that element to it where they're all obsessed with this fictional character, and so she programs the bot to be like him. And so there's a lot of things happening in the book, and
yeah, and I thought that the way that they laid out, like in the very beginning, there's an ad for the way you want to date, date X, the ultimate romantic and sexual experience, and you kind of see it, and you don't really think about it, and then she goes on this great date, and then you find out that's a robot, and everything's too perfect, and then she meets with her friends who are both skeptical and supportive, which I don't think is helpful to anybody. And and she buys the premium program.
Listen, we're all heading towards a dystopia where we're all, with our AI bots, and
this is our way to not have too many people on Earth.
So last time I was not on the show, you and Ryan talked about The War #1, and I haven't heard that show yet because I still have a couple more books to read. But I read 1 and 2 this week. The War #2 from Boom Studios, Garth Ennis, Becky Cloonan, and I was really torn on whether I wanted this book in my life because it's, in case anyone hasn't read it or listened to the conversation about #1, it's about a nuclear war with Russia over the Ukraine war. And in the first issue, it's all about the fear of nuclear war. In the very end, I think the very end of that one, the bombs get dropped because And then
it happens.
This one's the fallout of probably Russia nuking the United States, and the book takes place in New York. I remember I read both these and I was like, ugh.
I'm gonna tell you, it was 2 things. Like, I was like, here's my fucking guy.
Yeah, no, this
Garth Ennis with Becky Cloonan, who is a much better caliber of artist than he usually works with over the past, however many years, and doing this story that is just so. It's like reading a novel. It is not like a comic book. There's no high. I mean, there is a high concept, but it isn't because it's very personal, and you're kind of with these regular people who are kind of who have problems, and there's dysfunction in the relationships, but they're and like when that happened at the end of the first one, I guess I should have known, but I don't know. Like I feel like I haven't seen the Fallout story in quite a while, like at least dealing with our modern worlds. They did it, what was the day after, we haven't done that in a while. When we grew up in the 80s, it was
Catherine Bigelow directed, that's coming out.
But it's terrifying. It's I mean, we're our age. It is one of the most existential fears that we have hidden, that was bred into us.
The first issue gave me I was not panic attack, but I was just getting okay, love Garth Ennis. This is some of the best writing he's done in a while.
It's so good.
I mean, the first issue was, it's probably intentional, of course, but it was like every annoying person who's obsessed with the internet and politics. Was with all the main characters. It was like everyone is on the line too much, who talks about politics too much, and now most of them get nuked, and that was satisfying. But this one gets much darker in the fallout, the immediate fallout of New York getting nuked, and we jump ahead from one of the women being pregnant in the beginning to she's got the baby by the end, and
she won't talk to the man who is annoying, but he's doing his best.
Well, there was a reason, wasn't there? I can't remember what it was.
Yes,
because she was having the baby, and he was too busy.
The power went out, and so he was worried about not having access to the radio.
Right, he was sort of too busy still being the guy who needs to be online all the time, and she was literally having the baby. But that's probably also not why she was probably a little traumatized by having a baby.
And the nuclear war.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I wasn't a great deal of use. He says, so he even knows, like, he wasn't there for her.
Yeah.
Whatever, whatever it is. And now she's stuck in this, and she's fucked up, and she's angry, and she's got a baby, and there's no hope. And, and he's trying his best, but he's a piece of shit. And she had a baby with him, and she knew it in the last, like, we've said this for years. Garth Ennis is the best writer in comics when it comes to relationships, and not always great. And I'm in love with your relationships, but the complications of relationships, and there's so many breakups and dissolutions and coming back, and I love you, but you're awful. Preacher, that's what Preacher is.
Right.
And it's this guy here. I mean, this is Garth Ennis, and I was
he's on the phone on Twitter during Lamaze class. Like that's like he's not a good partner. Anyway, if you need a little bit of existential angst in your life, then I recommend The War. I don't know if it's a 6-issue mini or what, or 5 or what, but I mean, there's a lot going on here, and a lot to like and a lot to freak you out. I didn't know anything about it when I read the first issue. I just knew you guys had talked about it. It was a Garth Ennis book. It's called The War. I started reading it, and I was like, oh, okay, so
that kind of
Ukraine and Russia, okay, and then a nuclear bomb. Oh, London is gone. Oh,
yeah,
and I was like, this is freaking me out.
Yep, well done.
Yeah.
Hey, there's patreon.com/iFanboy. Why is there that? Well, it's because we are listener supported. You can directly support this program by becoming a part of a huge community that we have. Great community. I wouldn't say huge. It's sizable. It's not unimpressive. But it's not huge. It's not
like a celebrity talk show. Big.
It's not an inaugural crowd.
This is a comic show, for God's sakes.
Right. It's niche. Let's be honest. It's old people. Anyway, there's things like the Discord community, the Facebook community, and there's the Patron Pick voting, and you can get a Patron Power live on the show. You can join the monthly Patron Hangout. My God, it's almost too much to have to talk about every single week in the exact same way. At $10 or higher, you will get an ad-free version of this show and all of our other podcasts, and you will get this Pick of the Week show one day early on its own feed. You just subscribe to like would our normal podcast, and you'll get that, but no ads. Why you wouldn't want that, I don't know, because we do great ones, but then there are others still. And you will get access to the iFanboy after show, dear God, on Sundays, where we talk about all the books that we read this week that we didn't talk about in this main show. So I think that's a good bonus. That's a good value.
I think so. If
you sign up for a full year, you can, or you can sign up for a full year, and you can give or receive memberships. That's patreon.com/ifanboy/gift. You can find out more there. Slow down, Josh. ifanboy.threadless.com is our merch store. There are 23 designs on t-shirts and stickers and hats and just like so much stuff. So much stuff. There's a new design there, which is our celebratory 2025 design, which I believe we explained earlier in the show. You can go back there. It's in the show notes. You go to ifanboy.com/support, and you'll find a direct link to PayPal. It's pretty straightforward there. You don't want to deal with any of that, you can do that. ifanboy.com/Amazon is a general shopping link, an affiliate link, where if you are going to shop at Amazon and you do it through there, that helps us out, costs you nothing. So please do that if it's possible, if that sounds like a good idea to you. Bookshop.org is finally it's a system service that we try to highlight. It lets you buy books from local bookstores. It aggregates those. So if there is a book that we talk about on the show that is not a weekly comic book that we can link to there, we will give you the link for that through there. It's good stuff. You should do it. Moving along.
I want to mention that we did something before the show which required us to be on this camera, which means the clock is all fucked. I have no idea how far we are into the show.
6 minutes. So
we're long. Let's be quick. Skin Police number 1. Skin Police 2 number 1. Jordan Thomas, Daniel Mr. Gittes.
Gita.
The same team from the first run of Skin Police. This was good. I liked it more as I went along, only because I remembered more as I went along.
Sure.
In the beginning, I was like, wait, what? I remember the basic premise, and they give you a handy dandy thing. It was the specific things. I was trying to remember the specific things with people that was harder to remember.
Don't think that I didn't open that book up and see the synopsis page there and just think, he's listening to the show, he's learning. That's good stuff. We have listen. That needs to be there. He knew that. We broke up the thing into 2 volumes. It's the second volume. I really like the story. I'm glad to be back in the world. It's what I wanted from it. It's very comic booky. It's very sci-fi. I still enjoyed it. I was glad.
Yeah,
it came back.
didn't the first volume end in a cliffhanger? Like he was literally
Yep.
falling. Yeah, so it was.
He's in the fight in the pit, basically, and then
Yeah,
this
so the very first
continued
panel
that
is him
pit.
landing. So it was.
Yeah.
It just I really like the final sequence where the assassination is foiled, but there's a whole thing. Like that was a really nice sequence, and I like the cutaways
Yeah.
of the giant creature they were
Dinosaur,
inside
wasn't
of.
it?
No, it was like it's not a rat, but it was something like that. It was I gotta have to look.
I'm getting the dinosaur mixed up.
Isn't like a lizard or gecko or something. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. Anyway, there's the cutaways and the shooting inside. Like it was just really well considered. I thought it was really, really nice.
Yeah, it is a big lizard.
And I wanted to mention Absolute Wonder Woman number 11, which came out last week technically, but it wasn't out digitally last week in time to do the show. So Absolute Wonder Woman 11, Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman. I thought this was one of the best issues of the run, which has been great. But it's just like the fourth chapter of this story of her in this maze. But the big thing in this issue, she finds another Amazon for the first time, so she meets another Amazon, and that was a really, awesome sequence. But it just was really well made, from Hayden Sherman to Kelly Thompson, Jordan Belair, Becca Carey. The fight scenes, the emotional stuff, the way that it was all constructed together, the way the Wonder Woman's plan to escape, like it was all just really, really well done. And it seems like we're broken records talking about the book, but it's just a really, really good book. And this was one of the better issues of the run.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the books we're going to talk about at patreon.com/iFanboy. Every patron of the show gets a vote out of book of the rundown. This week, the winner by one vote, one single solitary vote. So 2 patrons could have swung the vote. This time, the winner was Everything Dead and Dying, number 1, from Image Comics and Tiny Onion. Written by Tate Bromble, art by Jacob Phillips, colors by Pip Martin, who has been elevated from color assists. Usually, he's the color assists person on the Chris Conn and Jacob Phillips books.
Mm-hmm.
By Adita Bidikar, which is a name I've not seen in a while.
What's Tiny Onion? That's Tinian's thing?
That's Tinian's imprint.
Oh, Tinian. Okay.
Yeah, or whatever. Tiny and
there's a phonetic.
Tiny Onion. So maybe it's Tiny Onion.
Yeah.
We've been wrong this whole time.
We're
fine. Stupid. This is what happens when you say something out loud for the first time. Mm-hmm. You go, Tiny Onion, Tiny Onion, Tiny Onion.
I've been saying his name wrong forever. That's what I know.
Yeah.
We were pioneers in not knowing how to say things.
Well, anyone who started a podcast in 2005, it was just a minefield. It was a minefield of not knowing anyone's names. And a lot of emails from people saying, you're saying the names wrong, including those people themselves.
How should I know?
Everything Dead and Dying, number 1. I'll just go ahead and jump on the last couple of questions that we do in this segment and say I wasn't going to read this book. I like Jacob Phillips a hell of a lot, but Tate Bromble's been writing Batgirl, and it hasn't been like super amazing. So that's not a name that automatically gets me to pick something up. And it's a zombie story. I'm not that into those. So I was going to skip this until it was voted pick the patron pick. And so that's my coming into this. Wasn't super excited for it.
Should I answer that question now?
Sure, go for it.
I did read it ahead of time, and I read it because Jacob Phillips, because I was like, well, he's made pretty good choices so far. I recognized the name Tate Bromble, and I was like, he wasn't the villain in the Sleepy Hollow story. Why do I know that name? And you just told me it was Batgirl, which isn't a bad book, but
no, it's not bad, but it's not like amazing.
And it was a zombie story for sure. So yeah, we were leaving off with all that being said. So why don't you take it from there?
Well, all that being said, there were things I thought this book did really well, and there was a couple of things that really tripped me up storytelling wise. And I thought, it's obviously it's not a one shot, but I thought it was a successful one shot story.
Yeah, I can see that.
So basically, the story is there's this farmer. He's gay. He's got a black adopted daughter or a surrogate daughter living on this farm in Canada. And at first, we see him in his life, and we think he's sort of having visions of what's to come. He keeps seeing people normal, and then he sees there's a zombie version. But he keeps living through his day, so the implication is he's sort of having premonitions because it freaks him out. It's revealed later on that it's the opposite. The zombie stuff is the reality. He's remembering what life was like. Because for some reason he's the only one immune to the zombie disease. Even animals are vulnerable. I really liked the idea that the zombies keep living their last day as humans over and over. So they're almost living in a play right? He knows the dialogue because his daughter wakes him up. They go, his husband making pancakes. They go have pancakes. None of this is actually happening because they're zombies.
Stephen Tobolowsky steps into a
right.
icy puddle.
And that was an interesting idea that they were sort of that their brains are reliving their last moment of humanity. And that was cool. But then I started getting really tripped up on the time shifts and changes. Because he would meet new people and then you'd see them in the past. But I was like, wait, is this somebody else's immune? Because once you make the reveal, I don't think you can keep going back to the same thing. You have to move forward as in this new. I think that's what I think. You have to move forward in the new reality. But
I think that's not the point though, because I thought it was actually pretty, like, at the beginning you're not sure which way it's going, and then when you sort of realize that but he is constantly living. He's also living the repeated day, and what he's trying to do to get through it is to try to remember what it was like and put the things that are still there in the context of what it used to be. And so I would say that in his mind, there's at least a desire to be like, nope, this is what it is. So he's seeing things as he wishes to see them rather than, and so
I get why he's doing it, but just for me,
that's
confusing.
Sure. I think it's just a style choice though, where in order to keep himself sane, he has to see these people as what they were. And so we're seeing it basically from his mental perspective, I suppose. And the whole time you're wondering, I mean, you even see like, why don't they attack him? And then at one point, the girl finally does, because that's supposed to happen, and he has to feed them dead zombie chickens, and, he's going to run out of stuff at some point. It's going to go.
Well, he's got 2 farms for reasons that are revealed in the story, and he's keeping them both going because it provides him with the food for himself, but B, stuff he can feed to the zombies to keep them placated. And then of course there's at the end there's other people show up, but I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't love it, but I thought it was well done. It's not really my thing. I mean, I read Walking Dead, but Walking Dead was different, and phenomenon and yada yada. I don't know.
You shot the mailman.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a hard time. I finished this book and I had a hard time sort of figuring out my thoughts on it because I thought it was done. Jacob Phillips was great. Pip Martin's colors were great. The art looked really good. The zombies looked appropriately gross. The stuff he was making at the farm looked appropriately gross, and you had these big vistas and Canadian prairies and a lot of farm stuff and a lot of
majesty.
It looked good.
Yep.
That wasn't something I was super into in terms of like wanting to follow. So that would be my final, sort of verdict on it. But
well, I mean, you have to. It's funny as we started talking about it. I think this was the first thing I read, and I was like, I have no idea what this book was. There was another book I read, I started to read called Blood and Honey from Boom, and I jumped on that with before 10 pages, and I was like, wait, is this that one? No, okay, right, it's the Jacob Phillips, and I think you made a very good point. Like, you could have just ended it here. You could have been like, this is the day in a life. If you get rid of the Walking Dead moment at the end, because that's a Walking Dead moment now. The other people show up, Reavers, whatever, what have you.
Right.
But I thought the storytelling in it was very strong and sort of setting up who he is and where we were, and I liked it. Again, it's not my thing, but I appreciate what was done, the work.
My rating is going to be solid. So if we say ratings on Everything Dead and Dying, out of 5, I'm going to give it 3.5. I thought it was a well-made comic, even though the stuff that tripped me up. I thought the rest of it was offset that. So I thought it was well done.
If I'm mixing how well they did, I think they accomplished what they were trying to, along with my sort of enjoyment of a thing. I'm going to go 3.75. It's a good book. It's not really my deal. So if you're a person who loves zombie stories, you'd probably have a different rating, and I can respect that.
And so then we both answered the second question, which is, were you going to read this anyway? Josh was a yes. I was a no. And then, are you sticking with it? I'm a no. I got it. I got what I needed from it. I'm not particularly interested. It ends very similarly to the war, the final.
Yeah.
People with guns are coming.
Yeah.
But I got everything I needed from it. Probably. If I hear like it's amazing, I might check out the second issue. But I think I got a story out of it.
Probably read the second issue.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm curious. That I think that's going to be the make or break thing. Like you have to impress me. If you'll remember, we enjoyed the first couple issues of Batgirl quite a bit, and then not
Yep.
as much. In
Right.
fact, you're still reading it. I'm not.
This week's is pretty good, but it's been up and down. It hasn't been consistent.
I don't get that.
Patreon.com/iFanboy. Thanks for being a patron. Thanks for voting. If you do, and we appreciate that. Every patron gets a vote, but if you give the $5 or higher level, you get a superpower live on the show. It's patron power. This week's power goes to Katie A, not to be confused with my prom date, who's Katie H. So
Katie, you went to prom with Katie Holmes?
We don't talk about it.
He was up on a chair. He was bent at the knees. He was so happy.
So Katie's power. You remember how when you played like Mario Kart, you could you could race like a ghost version of your best time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that, like time trial or
I
whatever
do.
it was. Katie can generate a ghost version of herself and have it go navigate. So like, if she's driving somewhere and she's like, I wonder if this way is faster than this way, she can then generate a ghost version of her in her car and have it take the one path while she takes the other path. And she can see which one's faster. She can just generate a ghost version of herself that only she can see.
Mm-hmm.
And it can go. It can't do anything other than go places.
But to help inform better choices.
Yes, correct.
Is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well,
it's mostly navigation based, but listen, that's a big part of a lot of people's lives.
I'm trying to think of other ways to do it.
We can't touch anything. You can only go places.
Like, does the ghost version have a car, or
yes,
is it
it's in a car?
Like it looks like Wonder Woman, so it's in a ghost car.
Yeah, it's in a ghost car. If she's in a car, if she was in a different thing, if she was sitting in a plane, she could make a ghost plane with her.
Okay, so like if you were like if she was mountain biking or something, she should be like, well, which way should I go down?
Absolutely.
And she watches how the ghost one goes down the more technical rocky part, and then falls and breaks its ghost neck. I'm assuming it doesn't keep injuries sustained.
No, it can't get hurt.
It goes very badly.
And it could also just be walking. Like she could create a ghost version of herself to see, which.
So theoretically, then she can also make the ghost. She's choosing what the ghost does.
Yeah, subconsciously.
So she could be like, "What does it look like if I drive straight into this building? Does the ghost have feelings?"
No.
Because like eventually I'd get bored with being like, "Well, can I get around this a minute faster?" But I'm like, "What kind of shit can what does it look like if I do dumb shit?" That's what I would. Right?
The ghost
it took me 30 seconds to get there.
It's essentially a non-sentient ghost.
Okay,
so
that's good.
But it's great to know. Hey, what's the best route home? You can try several routes. And I may have run out of thoughts yesterday sitting in traffic.
What if you are in a restaurant, right, and you don't know which thing to get?
No.
Can you imagine your ghost ordering and be like, "Oh, she likes that. I'll get that."
All you can the ghost can go places. They can't bring things to the ghost. You can't bring a ghost waiter with ghost food on a plate. That's all. The ghost can sit there if you want to have.
It's primarily travel based.
It's primarily navigation based. Yes.
Okay.
Patreon.com/iFanboy. Thanks for being a patron, Katie. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We can. The emails are pretty quick, so we might be able to do one or two. Well,
you pick one.
They're both fast. You'll see.
You say that, and then
this is a question we've gotten many times, but we get new listeners, so we're going to answer it. Michael N says, "Who picks the music at the start of the show? Most music I'm familiar with, less so the punk aspects, but I tend to enjoy regardless, and look up on Spotify for further investigation." So Josh is expanding Michael's musical interest. So let's just Josh, give a quick overview of how the show is produced.
So we alternate weeks. Usually it's back and forth with Connor, and then when Ryan's on, he does it that week. That is
whoever has the pick of the week is the producer.
Right, but that is also like they're the same thing in my head. So if you're the producer, you have the pick of the week, or if you have the pick of the week, you're a producer. What that means is that you when you read the book, we're giving you a bigger answer than you asked for, because that's what happens when you answer emails.
Just do it quick. I said quick.
You read all your books, and you make the pick, and then you send out a rundown to whoever else is on the show, and it says, "All right, I want to do these books. This is the pick," and then the other person fills in. It comes back to, if I'm the producer, I build out the script. I make sure everything is in that it needs to be in order. And we record the show, and then pick all the emails, all that stuff. And then after the show is recorded, that person's also in charge of producing, literally producing the show, editing it, putting a file, all that stuff. So that is when the music is picked. I think we all have slightly different ways of doing it. Connor, like I said, we've been doing this for 20 years. So we'll take a snippet of something that we like, or that is appropriate, or sometimes that is funny, or
It's all
whichever.
different.
I mean,
there's
but it
no
all,
like there's no like
yeah,
sometimes if it's a song or something referenced on the show, or if it's
yeah,
something that references the pick of the week, or just a song you like at the moment, or there's all kinds of reasons. But the person in charge of editing the show that week, who's the producer, picks the music.
yeah. And I'm guessing it's fairly obvious once you know about those things who's doing what. Um, like,
It's funny, in the old days it wasn't like that, because I was listening to some old shows while I was logging the books, and it used to be random whoever edited it. It wasn't the person with the pick. It was just like whoever could do it that week. That was just
yeah,
chaos to me. I don't even know how he did that.
yeah. Well, I had a lot less going on.
So that's it. The person in charge of the show, who has the pick of the week, who edits the show, picks the music. I
largely listen to punk rock and indie rock and stuff like that, so that's usually me.
Josh, you read this next question.
Drew G from Perth, Australia says that he's had it. He says, I've had it, but I did that. I've been thinking about this question for exactly 30 seconds. I noticed while perusing the solicits for my patron pick vote, there's a new series called All New Spider-Gwen: The Ghost Spider #1. When will Marvel pick a side on the name? It was all well and good when it was just me with the sole opinion on the matter of my family. But now I have an 8-year-old comic reader in my family, well done, to disagree with. We both love the into/across the Spider-Verse movies. And maybe I just need to be happy I finally have someone to close with to argue about such inconsequential matters. This all stinks of legacy numbering and having your cake and eating it too. Either way, what side of the fence do you fall on? The correct answer is Spider-Gwen Imho. I don't know that I have a dog in this race.
I have no opinion. I don't care about the character outside the movies. It's just not a portion of the Marvel universe I've ever been involved with.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
The correct answer is Ghost Spider.
I agree with you.
Because her name, it can't be Spider Pete. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no, Ghost Spider.
Does she have a secret identity? Like Spider-Gwen might be what like her friends call her. Like that's like
you've seen the movie, around. So that's about.
I don't remember things.
I say the Ghost Spider is a better name than Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen
is the Ghost Spider in the movie.
I don't remember what they called her in the movie.
Yeah,
in the movies, Spider-Gwen seems more of a customer-facing name, and the Ghost Spider is more of a story-facing name.
It's Spider Industries.
Yeah, hello, Spider Industries. This is customer-facing.
Here's another correct answer.
Yeah.
Whatever your kid, your 8-year-old daughter, who this character is literally for. I thought he said daughter.
He said 8-year-old.
But it doesn't matter.
He didn't specify.
I must have pictured that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Either way, whatever they like is the correct answer because that means it worked. And what they like and what makes them happy is important. So this is even one advice.
Wait, but this would seem to imply then that the kid thinks it is, because he's arguing with the kid, and he says Spider-Gwen's right. That must mean the kid thinks it's Ghost Spider. So we are correct.
Yeah,
we were right.
What's odd is that they're in Australia, so they are, while this is happening, I imagine dodging constant giant spiders everywhere. Like that's, in which case, calling the thing Spider-Gwen makes more sense because that sort of personalizes them and makes it makes your everyday life less terrifying. Because if you live in that situation where you are constantly beset by mammoth mutant spiders, you don't want to know anything about a ghost spider to add to your troubles. So it's all about understanding the perspective.
And how do we know that there aren't ghost spiders? We just don't see them. So
that's, as long as I don't feel them or see them, I'm fine.
So I think, look, granted, this is all stupid. Like we all know this is stupid.
Yeah.
But
that's a feature, not a bug.
No, yeah. But if you're talking about a character in a world, that character should be called Ghost Spider and not Spider-Gwen. That's my 2 cents.
Yes. And yes, Marvel is having their cake and eating it too. That's their business model.
That's how they get by.
Yes. That's exactly
we are the cake and we're eating it.
The no prize was basically we are having our cake and eating it too. They didn't say it that way, but that's what was happening.
Thanks for writing in. Michael and Drew, contact@ifanboy.com is how they did it. You can also write in for the Media Explode show if you would like. We'll have another mailbag at the end of the year, so if you want to get in on that, you can start writing in now. Same thing, just put me to explode the subject line. And let's plug some shows and get out of here. Last week we had our Booksplode show, the Adventures in the Veracity Trap. And then in 2 weeks' time from now, we'll be having our next Media Explode. We'll be talking about the top 10 movies of all time. If you're a patron, we're going to record that show live at the next Patron Hangout. So check that out if you want to come watch. That'll be soon. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to have a Talksplode. Hopefully, that's on the schedule. Hasn't been recorded yet, so you never know. But that's Josh is working on it.
Mm-hmm.
What are we at percentage-wise?
There has been a change.
Oh.
But we should be okay. I'm put percentages as 75%. We should be good to go, but it is not what we previously discussed.
Oh, interesting.
That is getting delayed.
That's all right. That person's busy.
Yes, but that will be good, and I believe that will happen. I have the support of the systems.
Are you finally doing Alan Moore?
No.
At this point, you could never do Alan Moore.
I don't want to.
It's been too long.
I did, by the way. Those of you paying attention, there are a couple people who I was like, I don't want to do. I just don't want to know, and I changed my mind on one of them, and I reached out about that one, which would be a pretty good deal. Because it turns out I don't know a lot of people, but I do know people who know people.
In 7 weeks is Pick a Week episode 1000. We'll be streaming that show live October 24th, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/iFanboy. I think because we have special guests, we might start the show at 6, but gather slightly before 6. But we haven't actually talked about that internally yet. But that's my guess.
Talking to me, who slides into the chair at the last second.
Just because we can't tell a guest to show up at 7, but start at 6, and then they'll be off. So we're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna work.
This is.
We'll figure it
out. Do this later.
We'll talk about it later. We'll have a meeting later. We'll talk about the pick of the week. We'll talk about the patron pick, and then after that, I'll be answering all of your emails the whole rest of the time, as long as it takes to answer them. Well, like I said, we have special guests booked. We've got 6, 7, I think at this point 7 confirmed bookings for special guests. So send in your emails to contact@ifanboy.com. Put 1000 in the subject line. No subject is off limits. We may not answer your question, but nothing's off limits. Comics, non-comics, whatever you want. Keep in mind, people other than us might be answering these emails, so you might want to ask things about the industry. Wink, wink. Josh,
I'm aware. I just decided to continue.
Wrong time to sip your water.
No, it was exactly the right time. I was thirsty. You can find our whole library of shows over at ifanboy.com or wherever you get podcasts. If the show still exists and is available, it is there. That includes all the podcasts you've ever done, all the special editions, all of the video shows. Again, that exist and we have access to. Never miss a show and find out what the pick of the week is before this show that you're so retroactively. Watch Spaceballs, by the way. Find out what the pick of the week is before the show comes out by following us at iFanboy Comics on Instagram and Threads, at iFanboy.com on Blue Sky, and Connor and I are C.S. Kilpatrick and J.A. Flanagan on Instagram, and then also every Tuesday and Friday, former staff member, because there is no staff anymore, Jeff Reed does short video deep dives into, well, you know what I mean, like we're not the staff, we're management and proprietors,
we're owners.
It's just that there is only management.
That's true.
And Ryan.
I guess Ryan's stuff.
He's like a part-timer.
Yeah.
He's contract worker. I think literally that's true. He does the comic videos about forgotten comic minutia. I'm so tired. I haven't said it. I'm a sweaty, tired mess.
You know what's funny is while you were talking, I thought my brain went, "Oh, you can put the script away now. You're done." So I did, and I was like, "Wait a minute, no, you've got a whole bit."
Oh no, you need.
That's what you usually do, but I did it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go ahead and jump in here. Please consider writing a review or leaving a star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Pocket Cast, you need to be subscribed and have downloaded a few episodes before you can rate it. Thank you very much. It's very important for the algorithm to find shows. We appreciate it. Subscribe to youtube.com/ifanboy. You can find the video versions of this show, our special edition shows, Jeff Reed's comic book deep dives, and our archive of old video shows that we did from 2007, 2012, before YouTube even existed. They're fun. They're there. We're young. We're in shorts. It's awesome. Finally, join us, the iFanboy After Show, exclusively on Patreon, where we'll share our thoughts on all the books we read this week that didn't make the rundown. That's on patreon.com/ifanboy for everyone the $10 a month tier and up. Thanks for watching. I'm Connor.
Hey. Sandworms. You hate them, right?